What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel, and over the course of the next few days, we have some incredible WWE news for you guys, including a top NXT superstar not wanting to go to the main roster? That does not make any sense. As well as, what was the worst thing what was the worst part about this episode of Monday Night Raw in history, and who has re-signed with WWE. So we kick this news so we kick this thing off with this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. Hold on, move my camera a little bit. There we go. Anyway, this week's episode of Raw was probably by far the worst that they've ever aired. Because there was only like what, 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 5 squash matches. Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens, the Viking Raiders versus a couple of locals. Aleister Black versus Tony Nese, Andrade versus Eric Young. Don't mind the dog. Don't mind the dog. She barks at nothing, and even Charlotte Flair in a handicap match with the Kabuki Warriors. This was the worst. Not the worst episode of Raw in history, because the only segment that was even good was the whole Kevin Owens apology to not Kevin Owens, the whole Seth Rollins apology to not just to the entire roster, but to also to Kevin Owens for what he said last week. There were so many matches. Again, 5 squash matches. Again, Andrade versus Eric Young, Aleister Black versus Tony Nese, the Viking Raiders against a couple of locals, and also I almost forgot to mention Drew McIntyre versus Akira Tozawa, and also Lashley and Owens. The women's handicap match, I will say though, was pretty incredible. I take that one back. I take what I said earlier back. It was a really good match. It brought out, it showed that Charlotte Flair is a babyface, but the reality is that she was meant to be a heel. My thoughts on that: I think she should have stayed a heel, but that's just my opinion. But there was also another good match on the card, which was a 6-man tag between Ricochet, Humberto Carrillo, and the new United States champion Rey Mysterio against the OC. Styles hit Ricochet with a Styles Clash on the second rope, on the second turnbuckle, picked up a victory, and RKO out of nowhere. Yeah, this was the worst Raw of all time, and they really need to step up the game. Pardon the pun. Besides, we're literally... Sorry guys, I'm on Twitter right now. Besides, we're literally less than 2 weeks away from TLC, and I believe the only match that is on the card is, I believe, the match between Daniel Bryan and The Fiend for the WWE Universal title. Which honestly, if that match is set to happen, it'll probably be like a ladder match or something like that. Only because only because Daniel Bryan knows a lot about ladder matches because he's been quite a few in his career. So it should be interesting. Anyway, guys, so another piece of news: who has re-signed with WWE? He is none other than former multi-time Intercontinental Champion, former multi-time Tag Team Champion, and former ECW Champion, John Morrison. Yes, John Morrison, real name John Hennigan, I believe is his name, has re-signed with WWE for the first time since 2012, since the spring of 2012, and that's what. Let's see. For the first time in almost 8 years, he's been away from the WWE for almost 8 years, and since leaving WWE, he's been a part of Lucha Underground, going by the name of Johnny Mundo, a part of TNA Impact, going by the name of Johnny Impact, and yeah, I mean, he's won multiple titles in both promotions. I think it was wise for Morrison to come back to WWE, but there have been rumors that that he could very well be going to NXT. If this is the case, I really I wouldn't like it, honestly. I mean, Finn Balor is one thing, Finn Balor, Breezango, that's one thing. But for a top player like John Morrison to go to NXT would literally be disrespecting his career and all of his accomplishments that he's and everything that he's accomplished in WWE. So because he's a former ECW champion, he's a former multi-time Intercontinental champion, a former multi-time Tag Team champion, and he is, I believe he's a former U.S. champion, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna go on to my Fire Stick, go on to the WWE Network on my Fire Stick and find out. Hold on. Hang on a second, guys. Let's see. Let's go to the network. Again, I'm checking out the network on my Fire Stick right now. So let's see. And if you guys are wondering why I didn't watch WWE Starrcade this past Sunday, mainly because of the fact that the WWE never crashed. So that's why I didn't watch it. I knew it was going to. I knew at some point that the network would crash. All right, so let's see here. Let's go with Superstars. Let's see. Let's go Hall of Fame, Alumni, WWE. All right, let's go all the way down. Scroll down. Here we are, John Morrison, right here. So let's see. Okay, I thought so. So according to his career highlights on the network, I'll show you guys. According to his highlights, he is indeed a former IC champion. He's a former ECW champion and a former Tag Team champion. Those are the only titles he's won in WWE. And I think if I remember correctly, his last championship was the Intercontinental title that he won in 2009 or 2010. I want to say, I think 2010. was his last title. So my thoughts on it. I love it. I can't wait to see John Morrison back. He has signed a multi-year deal with WWE, according to Ryan Staton of the Pro Wrestling Sheet, which I'm actually on their website on Twitter. So big shout outs to them. As for who I want to see him compete in the ring against, that's a hard one, because there are a lot of potential candidates. Obviously Roman Reigns is one. Seth Rollins could be another one. Braun Strowman. Even the Miz. Even the Miz. I know that Miz and Morrison were, had their own talk show on WWE.com back then. I think it was called the Dirt Sheet, if I remember right. Which then into a talk show that was airing on ECW in that was airing on Sci-Fi back in the day. So there are quite a few candidates, but who knows? Who knows? Only time will tell. As for when he'll make an in-ring return, that's a hard one. No one knows. But I've been hearing rumors that it's going to be taking place just before the Royal Rumble. If that is the case, and he goes to NXT, it'll be a huge slap in the face. But comment below. I want you guys to comment below who you guys think he should face for his first rivalry, because I would love, again, there are so many candidates, including also Daniel Bryan, Andrade, high flyer versus high flyer. The possibilities are endless. And now we move on to something that has been running rampant on Twitter over the last few days, over the last couple days. Who doesn't want to go to the main roster? The answer is Tommaso Ciampa. So I'll show you guys, courtesy of Pro Wrestling Sheet. Here is their website on Twitter. And I'm scrolling down a little bit, and the caption said, and the title says, Tommaso Ciampa says he will not move from NXT to Raw or SmackDown. Why is that? Well, here is exactly what it says. It says here, if you're expecting to see Tommaso Ciampa as an active member of the Raw or SmackDown roster one day, don't hold your breath, because he says it's never going to happen. So Ciampa was interviewed on the latest episode of Lillian Garcia's Chasing Glory podcast, where he spoke about telling the WWE officials that he's now willing to move from NXT. Ciampa says, and I quote, "Before I just didn't want to, because I really believed in NXT and wanted to write it. I wanted to see how far we could take it. Now it's hit a whole different level of something. I don't know. There is that. But I have a little one at home, and my schedule is better in NXT than it would be on the road. He also stated, and I quote, I had neck surgery, and I'm not freaking stupid. I get that my window is smaller than it was, and my bump card is ticking. If I'm doing 200 plus dates a year on the road with Raw or SmackDown, or I'm doing a manageable load of 30 to 50 matches with NXT, I can do 4 years of that in the time that I do 1 year on Raw or SmackDown. So how long can my career and portfolio grow here as opposed to going there? So just by reading that, it would, in my opinion, it would be wise for that to happen. But based on what I remember, if you're competing in matches over on NXT, I don't know much about this, but the pay, from what I understand, is a whole lot less than the main roster, than Raw or SmackDown. So I think honestly, I think in my opinion, while I do believe that Tommaso Ciampa is being smart about it, just in terms of his health. I think it would be wise for him to go to the main roster so he can compete against top level stars like Seth Rollins, like Roman Reigns, like Andrade, Aleister Black, um, Daniel Bryan, The Miz. Who else? Braun Strowman. Oh my God, who else can I name? AJ Styles, Brock Lesnar, Edgun, Razar, Rollins. I mentioned. That could happen, but he doesn't want to go. Tommaso also, and according to Ryan Stan on Pro Wrestling Sheet, Tommaso also says he's told WWE officials he'll retire from in-ring competition if they attempt to force him to move to either Raw or SmackDown. And he also stated, and I quote, I legitimately vocalized to them, if I have to go to Raw or SmackDown, then I'm going to retire. I would love to produce or coach or be a part of it, but there's no way I'm taking on that load and going, I'll just have a 6-month run and then call it quits. I just won't do that. It's not worth it to me. So my thoughts on this whole thing, I think in my opinion, health wise, just in terms of his health, I think Tommaso Ciampa is making a very wise decision. In terms of career wise, not the best decision, because while it is true that it did wonders for Finn Balor, being on NXT for a few years and getting called up to the main roster, I think it did wonders for Finn, but will it ever do wonders for Ciampa? My opinion, no. I don't think so, because Tommaso Ciampa, while it is true that he is a former NXT Tag Team Champion and a former NXT Champion, I feel like career-wise, it's not the best decision. Health-wise, yes, because he'll be working less shows on NXT than on Raw or SmackDown. At the same time, how could you pass up facing off against the best of the best? Facing off against Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura or U.S. Champion Rey Mysterio, or SmackDown Tag Team Champion Kofi Kingston and The New Day, Universal Champion The Fiend. How could you pass up things like that? Career-wise, not the best decision. Health-wise, absolutely hands down. I mean, with all the injuries that he's had in NXT, his knee injury, his most recent one, which was his neck injury, which forced him to relinquish the NXT title, forcing Johnny Gargano to win the title against Adam Cole back at TakeOver New York. Again, I just think it'd be why. I think health-wise, yes. Health-wise, yes. Career-wise, no. Alright, guys, that is going to do it for this video of WWE news. I think in tomorrow's video I will be talking about what's been going on with Dio Madden, as well as a couple other things in terms of rumors and whatnot. So stay tuned for that. And that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smash the thumbs up button. And if you guys are new to this channel, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any new content that comes your way. And it's like I said before, if this channel reaches 100 subs, I know it ain't much, but to me it's a big deal. So if this channel gets to 100 subs, then I will open up this entire box on the channel. I will not open this up in two parts. It will be one whole video. So So let's see if we can get the channel to 100 subs. It would be amazing. And of course, too, you guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Links to everything will be in the description below. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.